Now we have a chat here on the side.
Now we have a chat on the side. Awesome.
All right, so we should be live right now. Welcome everybody to another Prompt Master workshop.
Another episode of the Two Daves and an AI. Hey guys, what's up? This is our regular Wednesday webinar for all the newcomers. My name's David and this is Dave. I almost messed it up.
Almost.
We have so much,
We are not
so
perfect.
similar names. Yeah, anyway. So, hey everyone. We're the two Davids from ProMaster. If this is your first time, let us know in the chat. And if you're a regular, welcome back. I'm really hoping that you guys are going to enjoy the next 60 minutes or so. I can promise you that you guys are in for a ride. Apparently we're breaking a bunch of conventions, but I just asked Dave to turn off the lights over here because I think it feels like a bit loungy. It's kind of a chill flash. I love that. So yeah, let us know what you think about the lights. We have quite a few first-timers here, as I can see. So yeah, Dave, any messages to our newcomers?
Well, I hope they enjoy this workshop. And actually, I just remember that I need to put on some delay on the audio to make sure everything is in sync, because this is something that we, keep asking. Tell us if the audio is good. So
yeah, so this is the what is regular housekeeping questions.
What are some other usual housekeeping questions? Like, how long is the workshop? So I'm going to say we are planning around 60 minutes of teaching and demoing ChatGPT stuff, and then another 20-30 minutes for Q&A. So you can plan roughly 90 minutes for this entire session, and you can rewatch the YouTube live stream on this exact link that you're watching right now. So if you have to go, I saw someone put in the chat that they had a client call come in and they can't come to the webinar, and I'm like, well, good luck with the client call, and
let us know how it goes.
Yeah, and you can just always watch back this replay. We'll keep it up. So, they hear an echo.
That's interesting. That's new.
Yeah, that's new. Hold on, let me try to fix it, because
okay,
there might be something coming from the camera. I'm just gonna mute all of these. Okay, mic check 1 2. Is this better now?
Let's see if this is working a bit better.
Some people don't have an echo, delayed echo. Yeah, it was probably the camera. I left it on because it's connected differently. But okay, now it's better.
Bit better. Okay. So, shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay, so first thing, we're going to press the magic button so we can have all the slides in there. And I also have my magic buttons here that I can keep pushing. So push.
Let's give it a try.
There you go. So what are you guys going to learn today? As I said, you guys are in for a ride. Now, first of all, let's just jump right in and do some foundational learning right off the bat. Harvard, Wharton, and MIT did a research very recently, and the research came out with the finding or the conclusion that any knowledge-based job can be done 40% more effectively with ChatGPT. Even more so, let's just kind of unpack this. The first thing they saw was quality improvement. They actually compared people who were just kind of using ChatGPT randomly, just trial and error without any training, and also people who were actually doing formal supplementary prompt engineering training. And what they saw is that anywhere between 38 to 42% quality increase happened just because they were using ChatGPT, right? It's like there is still a 5% jump for trained versus non-trained, but this is basically, it's like if you are using ChatGPT, no matter where you are at with your prompt learning journey, you're already set to do your job 40% better. But here's the thing. There was also another dimension, another parameter that they were looking at, and that was time. people who were just trial and erroring ChatGPT without any formal training, they were already doing their job 18% faster on average. So that means that you can do your job 40% better and 18% faster if you are just randomly doing this ChatGPT-ing. But if you actually get some formal prompt engineering training, then you can increase that 18%, almost double that to 30%. So basically, all the people who are able who learn prompt engineering properly, they are able to do their jobs 30% faster and still get 40% better output, right? It's like you get a 1.4x multiplier power up to the output of your work, and you get to do it in 2 hours less every single bloody day. So let me think about that for a second. That means that you can do all your work within about 6 hours, right? So 8 hours of work done in 6 hours. There's 2 hours every workday. There are about 250 work days a year. So if you save 2 hours per day, and there are 250 work days, that's about 500 hours per year. That's a total of 21 days saved. But actually, I think next time we're going to change this slide, because there are 8 hours in a workday. So if you divide the 500 hours saved per year by actual work days, then you get 500 divided by 8, 62.5 work days worth of time saved for you, right? Basically, if you know how to prompt, you can get everything done that you got done in the last 365 days and go on a 2-month holiday, and your work is still going to be 40% better than what it was last year. How about that? That's why we say that people who are learning with us, we teach them to think faster. Think faster with ChatGPT. Now, this is probably the biggest productivity jump enabled by any piece of technology so far. Not because it's just so significant, but because it's general purpose and significant. You can do any knowledge-based job 40% better and 30% faster,
right,
if you know how to prompt. So here's the thing. So there are these two weird guys on YouTube with a weird background and talking about thinking faster and becoming more productive with ChatGPT. Why you should listen to us? First of all, we're the founders of PromMaster. A lot of first timers here, so we like to kind of start with this every week. We're the founders of PromMaster. PromMaster is a ChatGPT school. We launched in March 2023, and we educated over 6,000 people from about 45 countries since then. This lovely gentleman next to me has an education background. He has an extensive history with e-learning. He built a 160,000 people community so far for himself when he was teaching marketing. And myself, I have a technology background. I used to run a machine learning startup in London between 2012 and 2017. And I've been in tech for about, I think it's now 12 years. And but it's not just the two of us. We are not alone in this. We're also supported by co-authors of our courses, of our school syllabus, by experts who have over 2 decades of experience in machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks. One of the co-authors of our courses is Levente Szabados, who is a docent at the Frankfurt Business School of Finance and Management. And guess what? He is teaching deep learning and neural networks and machine learning there. So we are supported by a bunch of academics and people that are basically a lot smarter than us, but don't like to spend as much time in front of a camera as us. Um, but that doesn't mean that we do not have experience with ChatGPT at all. First of all, Dave and myself, we have spent about 5 million words of conversations with ChatGPT since it came out together. That is the basis of our experience that we are going to teach you and that we're going to try to convey to you all. That is probably more than the entire life's work of Ernest Hemingway. So, sorry, Ernest, I love your work, but we talk more with ChatGPT. So, as a summary, because I know that it's been 10 minutes and people are probably eager for me to shut up and stop talking about ourselves, is that we are going to teach you how to work super fast and also how to do awesome things with ChatGPT. Simply put, this is you, Mario, right? And then you get access to ChatGPT. This doesn't get old, does it?
No, I love it every single time you say it.
So when you're using ChatGPT, you're going to do awesome things when you're going to work super fast. That is basically our goal here. And the journey to that starts today, starts now with this webinar, with this workshop. I'm reading this comments just with one eye. So I think I'm going to shut up now and over to you, Dave. What are we going to learn about today?
Thank you very much. This was a lovely introduction. And there were a few comments about universities. They're saying that universities are not really catching up with this. So David, should we talk about that, like what we are doing in collaboration with universities now, or should we leave that to the end of the workshop?
I say we probably talked about ourselves enough. At the end of the workshop, we're going to start teasing something that's called the ProMaster Education Program, but not yet.
Okay. So today's workshop, we are going to talk about why you get bad responses from ChatGPT and how you can fix that. How you can give ChatGPT long-term memory with PDFs and other text-based documents. And we are going to show you demos of how we do some awesome things super fast with ChatGPT. And hopefully that will inspire you to try different and new approaches in your work and see how you can improve the quality of your work and the speed of your work. So why do you get bad responses from ChatGPT? Well, there are two main reasons. First, maybe your prompts are bad. And in that, I'm meaning that you don't really phrase properly what you exactly want. So that way it's a vague prompt and ChatGPT just misunderstands it. Or there's a phenomenon called hallucination, and I'm going to talk about both of these in a few minutes. So first, let's talk about how you can fix bad prompts. What average users do is in a prompt, they just say a task. And then they wait for like a beautiful response. Like they kind of want the AI to read their minds and guess what they want, but it's not how it works. So for example, they would write me a brownie recipe. But that's just going to give you like a generic recipe, and it's not really going to be useful for you to be able to actually cook it. You might, but there's a big chance that you're going to get a wrong response. What ChatGPT Pros do is they use all 6 elements of a prompt, or they know when they can skip a few elements. So the first 2 elements, the context and persona, and the task, are the crucial element. They are sent within every single prompt. So even in the write me a brownie recipe, that's the task description. And then there's always a default persona for ChatGPT, which is you are a helpful assistant. So basically you provide the context and persona every single time. But people rarely provide examples. They rarely provide restrictions and constraints, and they rarely tell what is considered good, like what kind of outcome are you looking for and the steps to achieve a goal. So for example, a better phrased prompt that reduces the likelihood of you getting bad responses would sound something like this. Act as an advertising copywriter who is witty, concise, and his primary objective is to make ads that people remember. write a Facebook ad copy and describe the visual. The product to promote is, and then you just insert the product description there. And then you can insert examples of previous ads that you ran or your competitors' ads that you know were successful. You can insert restrictions and so on if it's relevant, or if you don't get a good output for the first time. So this is just about prompting.
So Dave, I'm just thinking, and this comes up almost every week, but also it comes up with on all the comments that this is basically, how to communicate effectively.
Yeah.
Right? It's basically what we're looking at is that you need to, in order to get the most out of ChatGPT, you need to become a better communicator in general.
Yeah.
Right. And this is also what we see with a lot of people who do our courses. They come back to us and they say, hold on a second. Actually, since I did your course, I'm actually becoming a better communicator. I can delegate better. I can manage my employees better because there are these kind of components to how to communicate with people, how to give tasks to them.
Something that I experienced myself is that I'm also becoming a better ChatGPT myself, because when someone is when someone is telling me something, and I'm sure every one of you here has noticed that when someone tells you something and you don't quite understand it, what's the first question you say? Can you give me an example?
Yeah.
And that just helps me understand what kind of, what are you talking about? It helps me put it into more context. And that is something that many people forget to put into ChatGPT. So basically the more you communicate with ChatGPT, the better communicator you become. And something that I'm experimenting right now are some custom instructions that I put in. Unfortunately, it's not on the slides, but I'm going to take a few minutes to explain, because it came up on one of the previous workshops here that I got kind of pissed when I tell ChatGPT something like, hey, write me this and this, and then it just starts doing it without asking me any clarifying question. It just gives me bad stuff. But I'm super lazy to put in all these 6 elements, So what I put in my custom instructions when it says how do you want ChatGPT to respond to you, I told it to whenever you don't really understand, whenever you don't have 100% clarity on what I want, turn on Socratic mode. And then I describe Socratic mode, which is you ask questions to get more clarity. Turn on Socratic mode when my prompt can be understood in different ways, and then it just keeps asking follow-up questions. But now it feels like it's just asking me too many questions. Sometimes I just tell it to do something, and it just asks back do you want me to do this? And I have to say yes.
There is this adage that says there are only 2 kinds of people who answer questions with a question, and there's politicians and priests. And now your ChatGPT account as well.
Yeah, probably. So it sometimes bothers me, but then at the same time, sometimes it asks really good questions, the things that I didn't think about. So those custom instructions basically help me to give it the elements of the prompt that I should have put in the first way, but I was too lazy. So this is just about one prompt, and the other part the second part of this topic around overcoming bad responses from ChatGPT is giving it a long-term memory with PDFs. So this can really help stop hallucinations. So what is hallucination in large language models? LLMs stands for large language models.
ChatGPT on acid.
So where hallucination is where the model, due to gaps, ambiguities, or errors in its training data, generates information that is not accurate or verifiable, but presents them with unwarranted confidence. Basically, like a university student showing confidence on an exam, trying to pass, and even they don't know whether they are bluffing or not. There are 5 main causes. I think the first 2 are the most critical ones. The first one is just data gaps, because sometimes even in or especially in languages that are not so well spoken, or not spoken by a lot of people, like for example Hungarian, only 15 million people speak it. There's a lot less content online and in books, so ChatGPT wasn't really trained on that data. So this creates gaps in its training data, and when it you ask it to like get data from there, it just doesn't have the information. So sometimes it tries to make up something because its primary purpose is to be a helpful assistant, is to kind of somehow give you a response, and it doesn't want to let you down by saying, well, I don't really know. So it's getting better, especially GPT-4 with identifying the data gaps, but GPT 3.5 is really bad at this. And then the next one is prompt ambiguity, which is when you phrase a prompt in a certain way that it can be just easily misunderstood. And, you know, sometimes these models tend to misunderstand these prompts. Another cause is amplification of noise, which is there is within the data gaps, there are like basically in every data pool, there is some kind of, there's a range of noise to signal, and sometimes this noise gets amplified by the model, especially if you put the temperature a little bit higher than what it should be. So it just kind of, you know, starts making things up. Model complexity is also a factor here because these models have billions, if not trillions of parameters. So obviously sometimes that can also lead to a small percentage of hallucination. And then these large language models have these so-called generalization mechanisms, which basically make the model start with a generic response in the first place, unless you ask it to remain really specific. So I put this in my customer instructions as well to not like avoid giving me general responses unless I ask for it.
A lot of people are asking for it, so we are going to share the custom instructions Dave is using via email after, like in a follow-up email after this this session.
Yeah, definitely, and I hope that, you know, many of you can try it and then, you know, give us some feedback on how you transformed it and made it even better, because, you know, everything is really a remix. And we build on what's been before us.
And there is one tiny hint to kind of an advanced way of doing things. A lot of people were asking about this. And it's like, you can also add commands to the custom instructions. You can add like, hey, only trigger this when I use this emoji. So like you can...
Or like slash commands. And
or like slash commands. Yeah. So it's like if you want to use a Socratic mode in a custom instruction, you can actually start that with saying trigger Socratic mode when I enter this specific like book emoji. And when I say the book emoji, then you turn on Socratic mode. When I say the book emoji again, then you turn off Socratic mode, and you just ignore that custom instruction. And you put that into the custom instruction, and all you need to do is just enter an emoji, and then you're good.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You can even put in like multiple personalities and just call them whenever you
split.
Whenever you feel like it. You know, sometimes you just want to talk to a friend. Sometimes you want to talk to a motivation speaker, and sometimes you just want to talk to like a coach. And those are three different things. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on. How you can prevent GPT hallucination? First, you can feed information in the prompt. Unfortunately, if you do that, you are limited by what's called the context window, which is basically the short-term memory of a model. For GPT-4, this is around 8,000 tokens. So, which is what, 25,000 characters, right? So like 6,000 words. It depends on how long and complicated the words are and what language you use. So there is a lot of information you can put in the prompt, but then it limits you. So you cannot put in books there. So for short information like product descriptions, this is totally enough. And then what you can also do is you can use a Keymate plugin, which is one of our sponsors for today's workshop. I know a lot of people came from Keymate. So we are going to show you how you can use Keymate to search the web for information, and then how you can use a Keymate personal knowledge base where you can also upload your own documents, and then you can ask ChatGPT to use that knowledge when it's generating the responses, so that way you can really avoid hallucination and bad responses. So I'm going to give you a simplified explanation of a knowledge base because this is something that it took me a while to understand. I'm not coming from a tech or coding background. So, David already knew this stuff, but it was like, well, can you just explain it to me a little bit simpler? And then as I started working with
no.
well, eventually you did. So I basically learned everything about knowledge bases in the beginning from you, and then I did my own research. So I'm going to give you a simplified explanation of a knowledge base that will help you understand what it is without having any kind of coding or technical or like IT background. So imagine a color database like Pantone color database. All colors have hue, saturation, and luminance. You can code every single color with a combination of these three numbers across like 16 million color combinations or whatever. So Pantone is a famous company, especially in the US, where they release colors every single year, like what are the popular colors for textile, for painting a house, for print, and so on. And these colors actually look really good. So what you can do is let's say you have like a slight teal color on the left, and you say, well, I like this color. Give me the best match that I can use then to paint my bedroom with, or my bathroom, or whatever. And then it gives you, well, your match is the Pantone 310.
That's pretty close.
It's pretty close. I eyeballed it. So if someone wants to like really do this, they might be able to find an even better match. So that way you can get information from a certain knowledge base. So in this case, that was the Pantone color knowledge base. So what we did is we combined colors, but we didn't compare the colors by just looking at the two colors and, well, that's kind of the same, just like how I did when I made the slides of like, I eyeballed it. What we can do when such a program is running is to first convert the color into some kind of numeric format, like HSB, CMYK, RGB, or hex code, and then you calculate the distance between the colors from the knowledge base. So you can compare HSB to HSB, you can compare CMYK to CMYK, and then you find the closest match, the nearest neighbor. If you subtract the two numbers, like what is the shortest distance, and that's your best match. And you can do the same with comparing text. So if you transform a text into a vector, then you can calculate distances between vectors. And OpenAI's ADA embedding model creates roughly 1,500 dimension points for a vector. So, and within that, you basically code the meaning, the sentiment, the length, whatever you can know about a sentence, you code it in vector coordinates in an n dimension, like thousands of dimensional vector space. And then you can calculate the distances and find really close matches. This is also how YouTube recommendation algorithms work. Whenever you click on a YouTube video, or now you're watching this live, I don't want you to get distracted, but on the sidebar, you are seeing similar content, relative to this live stream. So on the sidebar, you might see other stuff from our channel. You might see other ChatGPT stuff, OpenAI tutorials, and that also works in a similar distance calculation basis. So how this process works is, first you have the raw data. Then you have to use a certain software to vectorize the data, and then you can store that in a vector database. DB stands for database. On another part, what happens is you have a prompt. You send ChatGPT a prompt, and then that prompt also gets vectorized. A software finds the closest neighbors from the vector database, pulls only that information, that is, even if the vector database is like millions of tokens long, it pulls like the most relevant 1,000 or 2,000 tokens worth of text content into the prompt, sends that, and then you get a response from the model. So if you're only using ChatGPT, what you're really utilizing is just the prompt and the response of the model. If you have a vector database like Pinecone, then you can do the vectorization and store the information within a vector database. And what we really love about Keymate is it combines ChatGPT with a vector database
it's an
like
all-in-one,
that. Yeah,
all-in-one solution.
It gives you an all-in-one solution for integrating the prompts and your knowledge and everything in there, and it just really reduces the chance of hallucinating or getting bad responses. David, are there any questions about these?
Yeah, there were a few about like hallucinations in general. One thing that was really interesting, there was a question about why does ChatGPT have problems with rounding numbers up? And that is something that kind of keeps coming back again and again and again. And that is that ChatGPT cannot count. It's really, really important that it cannot count. Its role is not to count. It's not to process anything. And as you just learned, its role is not to remember stuff. Its role is only to respond. It does not know how to compute. It just acts like as if it could, like a lazy university student, like I was at university. It's like never studying for an exam. I just went there and tried to wing it. Mm-hmm. And you know, sometimes it happened. Sometimes I passed. Sometimes it took me three attempts, but then I just passed. Like that was basically my story.
Like, I don't my
story with basic accounting.
They were like, I don't want to spend any more minutes with this guy. Let him pass. Yeah, I don't want to see him ever again.
There was my first ever accounting exam. Was I didn't study for 1 minute, so I just went there to the exam. I got the test sheet, and I'm like, I have no clue what's this. So it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna draw a flower, and I literally wrote a message saying, I have absolutely zero clue what these things are, but hey, here is a flower. I obviously failed the class.
I remember I once drew a ninja on one of my tests, and I wrote there like, this ninja protects me from from failing the exam, and they just failed me like ruthlessly. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Also, there are like there was a question about data security, privacy, etc. That's a broader topic, but in general, if you're using ChatGPT, you can turn the privacy mode on and off, so you can actually determine whether you want OpenAI to use your data, your conversation for further training or not. And also, if you're using any apps like the Keymate web app that uses the OpenAI API, that by default does not get added to the OpenAI training. So that is anything through the API is by default secure. Let's move on to plugins.
Yeah, something about the turning off the history. If I turn it off, does it delete all my previous history?
It does not delete it, but it kind of it's like, it's like launching a secret conversation in like Facebook Messenger.
Oh, right.
Right.
So it just puts it separately.
Yeah, you won't have access to the previous chats while you're browsing privately.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about plugins, how to turn on and how to use them. I know most people here already know how to use this, but this is just a quick refresher to make sure everybody's up to speed. So on the left hand side of your ChatGPT UI on the desktop, you will see your name. You have to click on that and the 3 dots next to it, and then click on settings and beta, and then you can go to the beta features and turn on plugins, advanced data analysis. This is an older screenshot. Now you have like DALL-E 3 there and web browsing.
We should update this.
Yeah, but I mean the plugins are there, so I never really noticed. Just even like yesterday, I was going through the ChatGPT, like turning these things on, and I was like, oh yeah, I just noticed that this is a little bit outdated. Yeah. So once you turn on the plugins, then you can go to the plugin store and search for any new plugin. There are more than 1,000. So we are going to save you some time by recommending just a few plugins to try and start with. So and then you can just open up that little drop down, and then you can select which plugins you want to use. You can only use up to 3 plugins per conversation, and you cannot change a plugin in the middle of a conversation. You cannot turn on a new plugin. You cannot turn off a plugin during a conversation. So this is like, you have to select the plugin beforehand, or you need to start a new chat to, if you want to, I forgot to turn on Wolfram to do some mathematics, I need to now go back and do that. So what's happening is each plugin has its own basic commands that just calls the plugin. So the plugin is listening in the background, and then whenever you prompt it, it just turns on. So for example, for Wolfram, any mathematics problem you give it, it's going to basically do the math for you on its own and then give the answer back to ChatGPT. With WebPilot, you can just get the data from any URL. And then with Keymate.ai search, you can search the web with Google. You can query your own knowledge base. You can upload stuff. And Keymate is so powerful and it has so many different features that together with the guys at Keymate, we put together a free Keymate Advanced Commons cheat sheet. It's made of 3 parts. First part is just simplified Keymate AI plugin cheat sheet with just the basic commands. Then we describe the slash commands, and then there are some more developer focused descriptions.
It's basically like everything you need to do, everything you need in order to get the most out of Keymate. And while we are having this live, I just got asked by the Keymate founding team to also mention that
breaking news.
Okay, surprise. So it's Keymate Unlimited week until the end of October. So for the next 7 days or 6 days or whatever is remaining from October, every Keymate user will get every single feature Keymate has, free or paid. Requests will not consume any usage. Basically, if it includes Keymate Ultimate, it's basically like God mode on Keymate, right? It's if you are a Keymate user, you will get everything until the end of October, regardless of what kind of user you are. That's, hey, surprise. So we will repeat this announcement by the end of the workshop, and also we'll give you access to this Keymate Advanced Common cheat sheet at the end of the workshop.
Yeah. So stick around. We have a little gift for you. So
the gift.
Yeah.
Oh, again, the gift is coming.
Okay, so what's coming now is a demo. So
the demo.
David, I'm gonna give you the camera back. So now we're only camera. I need to set up on some things on my back end.
Set things up.
In the meanwhile, you please answer a few questions.
I will answer a few questions.
Chat.
So, question is, how can I use ChatGPT to read long PDFs? Will Keymate do this? I'm resorting to using other tools. Yes, you can use the Keymate knowledge base to read PDFs. You would need to, you know what? Actually, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna. So you need to use the Keymate web app to load PDFs and train the knowledge base with the content of the PDF. Also, it's important that the PDF itself should be text-based. So it's like scanned PDFs would require OCR, and that doesn't work. But that actually doesn't work with most PDF-based plugins. Then let's see, what else do we have here? How does Keymate compare to Bing? Now it's easy. Keymate uses Google. So how does Google search compare to Bing search? Do we need to answer that? We actually did try that. This is something we shared in our Circle community with our users and our students, and Google still outperforms Bing every single time. So the knowledge base creation, is it free or will I have to pay for use API keys with Keymate? So the knowledge base creation is accessible to any Keymate user. It's part of the plan, regardless of which plan you are. So, in the next 7 weeks, you just, go there and try it for yourself, because everything is included. What's a good plugin for working with spreadsheets? I mean, there is a Chat with Sheets plugin. I didn't like that in particular. When I want to work with spreadsheets, I actually just use GPT for Sheets. Was that GPT? No, Sheets extension. Mm-hmm. I usually that's one of the things that we actually teach our students, not just, ChatGPT plugins, but also going beyond that and, Chrome extensions, other app extensions, all the kind of whole thing. What's a good plugin for legal acts and policy lookup? That's a good question. I mean, there are a couple plugins for that. Depending on the jurisdiction, you may or may not find that useful. But if you do have access to kind of, laws and just, a compilation of legal documents, then just upload it to a knowledge base and then you're good to go.
Yeah, Keymate is easy to use, and I'm ready to demonstrate how you can upload PDFs and how you can, use them.
Okay, let's see it.
So
show, not tell.
Yeah, give me 1 second let's see. Yeah, okay, so now I switch to my computer, and this is a shared chat that we're going to send out after the session. So what I did is, first I started with just going and deleting my knowledge base. I just wanted to make sure that I start from a clean knowledge base. It says, I've successfully deleted your personal knowledge base. Is there anything else you'd like to do? I was like, okay, let me check. Let's check in what's in my knowledge base. It says your personal knowledge base is currently empty. I was like, okay. And then what I did is I went to the keymate.ai web app, and once you open, you have to log in with your account, and once you're done with that, you can click this load PDF to knowledge base on the left hand side, and then here you can just choose any file, from your documents. It shows you the PDFs that you have, and then you can just select any PDF, click start training, and then it's just going to upload it. So, for example, we can look at the PDFs that I have in my knowledge base currently. So I deleted since this one. So now the only thing that's up there is my prompt engineering course transcript. So I uploaded basically like 40 pages of a document that's just text based, and it's a lot of information that we teach in our prompt engineering course. So I said, okay, now query my knowledge base and tell me the 6 key elements of a prompt. This is something that I showed you in the beginning of the conversation, or the beginning of the webinar. And it says, I found information in personal knowledge base about the 6 key elements of a prompt. They are context or persona, task definition, examples, expected behavior or constraints, what is considered good, expected steps towards the goal. So it nailed the 6 elements. Yeah, it got it. It didn't hallucinate. It even got it in the proper order. So then it asked,
because it retrieved the information instead of trying to make it up.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the out of the plugin is redacted in shared chat.
You just have to click on continue the conversation, and it will load it.
But then will I be able to see it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to click.
That's weird.
There we go. It was just thinking a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still redacted.
That's weird. What was that?
It's mine, yeah.
Because I did it with the other demo and it loaded, right? Interesting. Oh, that was
that's advanced data analysis. Yeah, I think this is for protecting my information that's in my knowledge base. Fine. So we can just keep going here. So 6 key elements of a prompt is like, okay, yeah, explain each element briefly and provide one example. And then it went in and explained the elements with in like 1 or 2 sentences, and gave me examples from our course material. It asked me like, would you like to delve deeper into any of these elements? I said, yes, write me an educational blog post about best practices for defining context or persona. Query my knowledge base again to get the best information. So now the reason I put in the query my knowledge base again is now I wanted it to only search for best practices for defining context or persona in a prompt. So because in the beginning of the conversation, only the stuff that was relevant to 6 key elements of a prompt was loaded. So there wasn't enough knowledge for it to write this article. And then it says, okay, based on the information in your personal knowledge base, specifically from a transcript of a prompt engineering course, I can write the post. And then it started the art of crafting the perfect prompt, defining context or persona. Introduction, what is context or persona, gives an example. This is an exact quote from our course material. Why is it important? Defining the context or persona helps specify the response, best practices. It even put in like heading 1, 2, and 3. And these are also the best practices from our course. And then it gives me a conclusion. And then I can just keep going like, okay, great. Now write me a 10-slide Instagram carousel about this topic. And at the last slide, prompt readers to click the link in bio to read the entire article on our blog. What I could have done here to make the response even better, but I just did it for demonstration purposes, is I could have included like, write in a certain tone of voice, write as a different copywriter persona, maybe an educational blog post writer, not just a general blog writer, or write as a teacher. So I could have made this even better, but I just wanted to make sure that I can demonstrate this thing. So it gave me the slide with the titles. It even described the visuals, and these visuals are something that I could just throw into DALL-E or Midjourney or Stable Diffusion and have my slides visuals generated. And it put in some like we just have the 10-slide carousel. At the end, it says, "Want to master the art of crafting prompts? Click the link in the bio." So now I can just make marketing material from the PDF knowledge base that I uploaded. I said, okay, now write 5 controversial tweets about, or that are bold statements about this topic. And it says, if you're not defining the context or persona in your prompt, you're basically letting your AI model run wild. It's like giving a toddler a paintbrush and expecting a masterpiece. So, hashtag prompt engineering. So now I have basically in like 5 or 10 minutes, I now have 5 tweets that I can share, 1 Instagram carousel, and a long form blog post. Now I could just, keep going with like, okay, give me Instagram reels, transcripts, give me like a longer YouTube video that I can then generate with my AI avatar. So there's like a lot of ways you can just, multiply these effects. But the funny thing is, writing this amount of content took me with ChatGPT around 10 to 15 minutes. And in the meanwhile, while it was writing the blog post, I think I went to, fill my glass of water.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we did this last week live. I think we usually do these things live, but then last week the whole session fell apart because the studio had like an electric failure or something. And we're like, okay, we're going to show the screenshots. We're going to share the chats with everybody. But it's like, yeah. So question, Dave. Are we going to share the chats with people?
Of course.
Okay. How are we going to share the chats? Do you want us to share the chats, guys? Let us know in the chat. Do you want the chat? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do
What's up, chat? Do you want the chats? Tell us in the chat. So.
Oh, this is getting worse.
Yeah. Chatspect.
Chatception.
The ChatGPT chat. Can get even worse. So yeah, we can just send out like a follow-up email.
Yeah, we'll send out a follow-up email with the Socratic mode, custom instructions, with all the chats that we're demoing right now, and also with everything like the info on the Keymate cheat sheet as well. Yeah. Actually, probably at this point, you guys are like paying attention. So I think this is a good time to just kind of stop for a second and remind all of you to don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button.
Yes.
Because we're building our little community here.
Well, we have over 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah. I just realized that we just passed 1,000 people probably yesterday.
Yeah. So this is another milestone. We passed 1,000 people on the Circle community, now on YouTube. So this is exciting, and I am so happy that so many of you are here and interested in what we have to say. So this, for a teacher, this is like, oh my God, this is amazing. Okay, David, now is your turn with the demo. So I'm just gonna plug.
Okie dokie. Let me know what to do.
Plug this thing here.
Plug the thing. Plug the thing.
Okay, and
boom.
Make it full screen. Make your chat full screen.
Okay. Boom.
There we go. And
yeah, let me just zoom in a bit because.
There we go.
Okie dokie. So let's do something crazy. This actually took a bit longer than last time, so I'm just gonna walk you through the chat. But this is one of the things that we call prompt sequences or macros that you can do with ChatGPT. This is kind of advanced use case. So as Dave started this workshop saying what most people do, and then it was like, write me a whatever. And then what ChatGPT pros do, which was like a very long prompt, right? Here is what prompt masters do. We're going to use a Keymate plugin, and we're going to use a sequence of prompts to actually do some very high value, very complicated task. In this case, we want to estimate the total annual revenue of the cupcake industry. So in the meantime, Dave is gonna monitor the chat.
Yeah, how do you monitor it? Do you, because there is a question, but I'm worried that I will just forget the question itself.
You could just respond to them. What I was doing.
Oh yeah, because we are not using my laptop right now.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
So the task is to determine the total annual revenue of the cupcake industry. So first of all, I'm giving the task and the persona. I act as a research assistant who helps me out. Context, I'm a market researcher. You're helping me determine this. Then task. Task is to give me a methodology which you can estimate this figure. I don't know how I want to do this. You tell me how I should do it. Boom. Then I get the methodology. I'm like, okay, this may or may not be good. So I'm like, oh, also the information I need, because I also wanted to highlight. It's like, highlight what information would you need to search for to get the number. Don't do any searches yet, just explain. So I get the methodology, 8 steps, and then also I get 5 things that we need to search for. So let's see what we have. It's like, okay, it asked a few questions about, is it a specific country or region or globally? So I'm going to answer those first. Global gourmet cupcakes, retail, both online and offline. Now, first thing to search for is the number of outlets. So do that search. And then Keymate did the search. And then it found a few kind of quick hits, right? A few like Georgetown Cupcake, Little Cupcake Bake Shop, Cara's Cupcakes, Swirls Cupcakes, etc. But I also wanted it to do an educated guess. See, it's now search for the number of outlets. If you have incomplete data, make an educated guess, but give me sources. Now, what we did is that it gave me an educated guess based on the incomplete data, which is something we always need to do. It's like, how do you infer information, infer an insight from incomplete data? You can use Keymate AI to search for data, but then you need to ask ChatGPT to infer some insights based on the data to move forward with your research. So it said we can consider about 100 major cities globally, which is kind of true. Then an average of about 10 gourmet cupcake stores per city, not the total cupcake stores, just the gourmet cupcake stores. And that would give us an estimate about 1,000 gourmet cupcake stores worldwide. Okay, this may or may not be true. Anyway, we get a first estimate, move on, we will kind of refine this. So next step, average revenue. Then again, repeated the same thing, got the sources as well. You can see on the bottom left side of the screen that is actually giving me the right kinds of sources. And again, inferring as an educated guess from the incomplete data that it would be about $92,000 per outlet only from gourmet cupcake sales. At this point, I stop and say, do a sanity check on the estimated annual revenue per outlet. So then it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to do some more research and do a sanity check. And still got some more stuff, sanity check. Okay, I can infer that about $100,000 to $200,000 per year is a good number. And then also I want to research for the major players. Then it does it. It tried to access a link that was restricted, but it still got the numbers that we wanted. So I'm like, okay, now move on and look at the industry reports. So it got some industry reports about how the market is growing, what is happening, etc. So again, growth rate. It's easy. It's basically repeating a pattern. Now, what's happening is that I'm like, okay, now we did a lot of things. Now I want you to summarize the conversation so far. Explain to me step by step what you did and what educated guesses did you infer from them. The goal is to explain how this industry works, right? So we did the whole thing and I'm like, okay, let's take a look at your context window. Let's see if that works. If you still remember everything. And now he just explains everything. What's the objective? What's the methodology? What are the number of outlets? And what you can see is that after all of this, it actually updated its original estimation because it got some more information from the major outlets. And as you can see, now it's about 2,400 outlets globally, and the annual revenue is anywhere between 92,000 to 200,000 per outlet annually. Did the sanity check, major players, industry reports, growth rate. So now we get a pretty good estimate on how this industry looks like. But I'm like, are we happy? Are we content with this result, or do we want to go deeper?
I say go deeper, but wasn't really paying attention because I was paying attention to the chat.
Okay.
So go deeper.
Go deeper.
I know you have another tab open.
Yeah, I do have another
right
tab
side,
open.
So.
Okay. So going deeper means that I'm like, okay, let's do an analysis from this. So I just copy pasted the previous response here. And I said, based on this, please plot the growth rate and the total annual revenue of this industry, highlighting the market share of the largest players versus everyone else. And this is now not a plugin. This is a new chat that using advanced data analysis. And then it went in and did the calculations, and it did a plot for the largest players, which was Sprinkles, Georgetown, and Magnolia, and everyone else. Total annual revenue of lower and upper estimates. Then I'm like, yeah, but I want you to plot this properly. So yeah, do this. Okay, growth rate. This is not what I want. So let's give it another prompt. Plot a chart for annual revenue for the whole industry, assuming the growth rate was stable and will be. Assume the revenue between 2020 and 2030. Currently it's 2023, so you'll need to go backwards and forwards too. So it's like, okay, let's do this. So backward projection, last 12 years, forward projections, next 13 years. And then it just starts writing the code. It has the growth rates because it did the research. It did some errors. It's fine because the Python sandbox that advanced data analysis is running on is capable of correcting itself when there is an execution error. And then we got this, which is a projected annual revenue of the gourmet cupcake industry. There is a revenue range that is basically between the lower and upper estimates. And basically our research that lasted about 10 to 15 minutes, I think it was about 15 minutes or so, and it started with just a simple question and ended with an actual analysis plotted that I can actually use in marketing materials, I can use in further research, I can use in making decisions, which means that for me doing this, and I've been running my businesses for the last 12 years, and I used to do this for a long time, doing market research and inferring educated guesses and insights based on incomplete data is one of the things that you need to become really, really good at. It's also called guesstimation. And knowing how to get the right kind of information was really, really stressful, but Keymate solved that. But also turning that into a digestible format with ChatGPT just happens like this. So I'm like, what used to take me a week now takes me 10 minutes. This is what you can achieve with a prompt sequence or a macro where you can just be like, okay, I don't want to do just one simple thing. I don't want to create like a good prompt. I want to have a conversation. I don't care about prompts. I care about the task itself. And that is very important because mega prompts, as I see and read about them a lot of times, mega prompts are actually not very good in instructing ChatGPT to create high quality output.
Yeah. Because
mega prompts eat up your context window. And that is actually a bad thing because then you just don't have to, you cannot get that conversation where you get to refine the response until you get the right kind of thing. You just have one shot, and that's just stupid. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. What about the comment section? Because this here actually stopped.
It didn't load, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, it stopped.
Yeah, so there was a discussion that I had with Matthew Bell, who has like thousands of URLs that he wants to put into Keymate. And something that an idea that I had is, and this is worth like another session, like a longer form YouTube video for one of our live coding sessions, is to write Python code with ChatGPT that uses Selenium, which is a browser engine that you can automate tasks within a browser. And then what you could do is to ask it to write a Python code that would open ChatGPT, log in with your account, start a new chat, turn on the Keymate plugin, and then it would one by one put in the URL of the link, like a Wikipedia and like all the if you have a list of all the sub pages, you could just loop it through and get all the content into your knowledge base.
Yeah, you could do that. Although I must say that there are probably simpler web scrapers out there that you can just automate.
Yeah, the problem is uploading it to a knowledge base, to the Keymate knowledge base.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that when you scrape everything from a website, so the sort of pre-ChatGPT way of doing this would have been getting everything downloaded in an HTML or a TXT format from all the URLs and all the subpages through a scraper, a web scraper, right? You get a web scraper, you download like 1,000 websites, and you just run that service that would probably run as an AWS Lambda microservice plugged into a web scraping service with an API. And then you would end up with this huge amount of text that you would then need to structure somehow. But the same unstructured text now can actually go into the Keymate knowledge base with just one upload, because the knowledge base can have any size. The problem is that when you load everything one by one through Keymate, then you're using the number of requests you can do with Keymate.
Yeah, but if the PDF file or the text file is too big, Keymate just doesn't allow you to do that. So there's like a certain size limit. We don't know, like even the Keymate guys don't really know what's the exact limit, because it's just a limit of like, I don't really know exactly how that part works, but you cannot upload like a 2 gigabyte PDF file with like thousands.
But it's easier for you to chunk that file and then upload them. Then so the one thing that I would be concerned about is that if you want to send 1,000 requests to Keymate, unless you are an Ultimate, I don't think even Ultimate has like an unlimited number of requests. So you will run out of requests really quickly. But yeah, this is actually a really interesting hack that we could probably try to do live on a YouTube video.
So your suggestion is to scrape the websites into TXT, format those into...
Or JSON.
Or whatever format you can get them to, format those into like a print-ready PDF and then upload them to the Keymate in like certain chunks.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
And you could automate that, right? It's
Yeah, and
you could automate uploading stuff to the Keymate knowledge base with Selenium.
Yeah, and there was another one. I forgot now as I was talking about the first question. Hold on, maybe it's here on my previous chat. No, I lost it. But if I remember it, I'll
anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, but anybody can read the chat because I kind of answered the questions there.
Yeah. So
no. Oh, sorry. I just found it.
Okay.
RJ Johnson asks, is there a way to link to the previous chat without copying and pasting into the new chat? And I think, David, you've done this many times, right?
Yeah, I have. This is one of my favorite things to do. So RJ, you can use, I usually use WebPilot for this, not Keymate, but I can just share the link, get the shared link of the chat and paste it into a new chat and say, hey, get the contents of this. And then that's it. Pretty simple. So that's one of the things that I like to do, and it helps me continue with the conversations. Although not all the time, like most of the times I don't actually need to share the entire chat. I can just have if everything is still within the context window, I can just have ChatGPT summarize the conversation and then just copy paste that. That's actually also a lot of times it's a lot easier. Okay,
so let's move on.
Let us move on.
So, David, now it's your turn to tell us about
The Gap.
This Gap. What is this Gap?
The Gap. It's a retail brand of clothing. All right. So here's what we learned so far, right? We learned about the key elements of prompts. We learned about why ChatGPT hallucinates. We also learned how to get the total annual revenue of the cupcake industry. Cupcakes. I'm getting so fed up with cupcakes. Next version of our course needs to do something else than cupcakes.
Pizza.
Everybody loves pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But with or without pineapple on it.
I'm not going to get into that conversation. I've been media trained.
You can neither confirm nor deny that.
I refuse to answer this question.
Okay. So we also learned how to use the Keymate knowledge base. We really went into the nitty-gritty of that. As you guys can see, we teach our students how to do awesome things with ChatGPT. And we actually teach them how to even automate these things to the point when ChatGPT and AI works for them. This is what we teach in our ProMaster community. Now, why we do that? We started our workshop stating that any knowledge-based job can be done 30% faster if you're skilled with ChatGPT, according to people at Harvard, Wharton, and MIT. And that is our sort of motto, right? Do awesome things, do crazy things with ChatGPT super fast.
Super fast.
So Mario and ChatGPT can do awesome things super fast.
Right.
So we do have, thanks to our academic partners and our experience in both talking to ChatGPT for over 5 million words long conversations and also teaching 6,000 people in the last 6 months, we have proven a process that will get you to this 30% faster, 40% better, super fast way of doing things, even without tech skills or any previous experience, in just 3 simple steps. This is the 3-step process that you can go through with our ChatGPT school at ProMaster. Step number 1 is the prompt engineering itself. Learn 500 plus hours worth of ChatGPT use in only just 4 hours. This is 4 hours hands-on practical training done by the AI avatar of Mr. Dave Tallis, our resident professor, but he's not the only professor in this neighborhood. Dr. Ward Griswold, the lecturer at USG, is also one of our students, and we have a bunch of his students also signing up to our students, and we have not spoilering the education program yet. He says that it's the most advanced prompt engineering course you can find currently. He said, let me quote, "I've done about 7 different courses and hands down yours is the best without an exception." I have like a long conversation with him recorded, but we were just probably a bit lazy to kind of put the video up. We will probably do that from next week. There was a big job fair that the USG sent a lot of students to, and the job fair people, the employers were telling to university folk, guys, teach your students how to prompt, because if they don't learn how to prompt, we're not going to hire them in the next 5 years.
Right.
That's pretty crazy.
It is.
So that's step 1. You get to unlock 30% faster work. You get our pre-recorded videos with this lovely gentleman on our Circle community, and then you get promoted. What's step 2? Is a 45-minute private consultation. We take pride in offering to have a private conversation with every single one of our students. So you get a consulting call with one of the Davids, which is usually priced at about $150, where we jump on a call, open ChatGPT, share our screen, and it's like, okay, what do you want to do with ChatGPT, right? And then we just do it. And this is probably the most personalized way of learning that we can offer you. There is a caveat though. We only do consulting calls on Tuesdays. So there are limited spots and they are limited for all of our students. So basically, we have I think we have like about 60 slots open for only like the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Yeah, probably.
So you can get things done with us within 45 minutes. I don't know if you guys, we still have like a few of our regular students here. I saw Scott in the comments earlier. Just tell people what you guys asked us to do in these 45 private consultation sessions, because I think this is probably one of the most fun part of my job. So step 3 is you becoming a prom master. This is where we teach you super advanced ChatGPT use cases. We teach you how to build ChatGPT based bots, how to do these long ass prompt sequences with ChatGPT. And we basically teach you everything we know. That's the deal. Every Thursday, we do 2-hour-long live workshops when we dive deep and teach you everything we know. And you get access to that, all the previous recordings. You also get access to all the upcoming ones. And we are just about to wrap up the first 5-part series of these Prom Master trainings. If you are signing up and joining our school today, you're still going to get access to the late admissions to these courses, and you can join them. The next one is actually happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. UTC, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 p.m. UTC. We send it out to our inside community. This is basically a 4-week program or 5-week program that now we're doing that is delivered via Zoom. And usually this is priced at $999, but this is also going to be part of this 3-step process for you. Now, altogether, this is what we call the ChatGPT Accelerator Bundle. You get a prompt engineering course access, 45-minute consulting, and a Prom Master 2.0, which is basically the weekly live workshops on Zoom every Thursday. Now, altogether, this is about $1,247 in value and at the retail price. But now with this ChatGPT Accelerator Bundle, we are giving you almost $1,000 off, and you can get it for $297 only. Again, this price stays, but the 45-minute consultations are actually going away pretty fast. So if they are gone, they're gone. That's a first come, first serve basis. So how can you get this? How can you become a prom master? The way you become a prom master is by going on prommaster.com/bundle, or just taking a snap of this QR code that will take you directly to our landing page where you can make a purchase right away. Now, I was thinking that talking about this is pretty cool. Oh, there you go. I knew that was Scott that I saw in the comments. We just had that session with Scott yesterday, and I actually really enjoyed it. I'm still coming out of a cold, and I was feeling a bit kind of down. And then Scott asked me actually a pretty complicated question, and I got so energized. It was so cool. Anyway, so I was thinking, instead of just talking about this, why don't we show people what's inside our circle community?
Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second. I need to switch.
Okay.
The technology.
Okay. So I'm going to show you what happens when you join our circle
make
community.
Your browser full screen, please, David.
Make your browser full screen.
There we go.
Okay. So when you buy the bundle, which you can still do by taking a snap of that, go to the landing page. You will be welcomed in our circle community, where you can find all of our most engaged and most active students. You will be welcomed by Daniel, who is our community manager. Daniel actually started out on one of these webinars. He bought the bundle, and within 2 weeks he became our community manager, because he just became one of the most active members of our community. So what happens is that you're gonna get access to everything here. There is a general chat. People are sharing a bunch of stuff here with each other. A lot of things that basically is just a joint learning experience, right? That's basically what it is. There are a bunch of open discussions. For example, today I was playing around with generating deepfake videos. So I'm just sharing all of these things with people how I'm doing these, what are the tools that I'm doing. People are also sharing best practices with each other. It's a community of people learning together. Then, also we have all sorts of people coming from all parts of the world. One of the best things, like one of probably my biggest successes, is that even though I did drop out from university, my old thesis advisor is now one of our students. So yeah, hey Stefan. Anyway, so as I said, people are also sharing use cases with each other, what people are kind of using ChatGPT for, and everything else. Now, this is the prompt engineering course. Now, what you can find here, so you get direct access to all the video recordings here, and as I said, the avatar of this lovely gentleman is just gonna teach everything, and also there are some kind of prompt along exercises where we just literally shares his screen and just keeps prompting.
Yeah, just checking on my AI clone, make sure he's not going rogue.
Yeah. Okay, so then we also have the Prompt Master events, which is like what we had in the past for like advanced ChatGPT use cases, building ChatGPT workflows, finding critical workflows. We also give people tools. These are like 2-hour long trainings, and let me just show you something, because this is like, we give people a very in-depth training. So I'm just going to try to see if I can make this work. But we also build a lot of tools like Colab notebooks that run code for people without them having to know what they do, and we share them with people. We teach them how they can find the right kind of workflows to use ChatGPT for, how to estimate the potential time savings they can achieve, how to build ChatGPT bots with make.com, and we are even going to have a session about launching a ChatGPT consulting business, which is also what we do as well. We have a bunch of clients. For example, one of the media clients that we have is we are helping them save about $250,000 a year just by automating 2 workflows only, and we teach the steps that we do that for the people. And again, you guys do not need to have any tech skills to do this. You guys do not need to have any previous experience to do this. Even if you just learned about ChatGPT yesterday, this training is for you. And here's the thing. If you buy this today, you get lifetime access to everything that we currently have here. It's just never gonna expire. As Dave put it, I asked about this from him, and the definition is till death do us part. So you're gonna keep having access to everything here, and everything that we just keep sharing here in the general community until one of us dies. It's basically that's how it is. I don't know. That's practically it, right? There are a couple interesting things here that we're doing, and I'm not gonna spoil everything. And yeah, also there's one more thing. Can you put back the no, just the QR code?
No, I can't. Okay, give me 1 second and I can.
Okay. So in the meantime, let me just tell you this. Perfect. Perfect. So just make sure to snap that. Snap that. Take a photo of that. Go ahead and buy the bundle so we can see you guys in circle. So here's the thing. We're also launching a university program. In Hungary, we have a lot of students who are university students. And in Hungary, we launched a campaign when we were giving away our prompt engineering course for $1 for university students in Hungary. We are also engaging in a partnership with multiple universities here in Hungary, and also engaging in partnerships with universities across the United States and Canada, in the Netherlands and in Germany. Basically, what we're looking at is that we are going to launch an education program because we want to help people learn prompting, help as many people as possible to learn prompting, and also turn what we have in this school into an accredited course on one of the Hungarian universities, which is something that we're actually working on. I really want to emphasize this, guys. The job market is currently being turned upside down because ChatGPT makes you think super fast. And that means that a fresh graduate with intermediate ChatGPT skills can outperform a senior employee in any knowledge-based jobs like that. That's crazy. And the learning curve for ChatGPT is like you start using it, and you're like, yeah, I kind of get my head around it. But I can tell you this. The moment you get into our community and start learning about the things we teach, you're going to be like, oh my God, the rabbit hole is so much deeper than I thought. But even if you don't feel like that, we still have a 14-day no questions asked refund guarantee. So you literally have zero risk, no tech skills needed, and no risk. That's basically what I wanted to share. Is there anything else you wanted to share, or should we just go into asking or answering the questions?
Well, about this university program and teaching people how to prompt. This is interesting because I always thought that one can win at in a professional life if they become laser focused on one thing and they become an expert in that. Now it's not enough anymore if you cannot use ChatGPT with your expertise. And
that's what came out of this study, right?
Yeah, and what came out of that study also is if you are not an expert, or maybe not yet, you are just learning, and everybody's learning in their lives, you can still put in or put out high quality work if you know how to use ChatGPT well. And you don't need to learn any other software, just ChatGPT, right? This is just like one extra thing. You learned how to, you learn how to drive a car, you learn how to ride a bike, you learned how to, use the internet. This is also another thing you can learn.
And also so there is this concept called the T-shaped generalist, right?
Yeah.
A T-shaped generalist is a generalist who knows, who has mediocre knowledge of a lot of things, but then there is one thing that they know incredibly well. And basically what I can probably say right now is that if you're a T-shaped generalist, where the leg of the T is ChatGPT, you have the most valuable transferable skill set on the job market for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? Also, a couple things to mention. We are discussing a lot of major platforms as well. There are a lot of questions about Board and Claude. We actually have a commercial license to use Claude from Anthropic. We've had it. We were actually one of the first Hungarian people to get it. I'm actually pretty proud of that. And I've built a couple apps with the Claude API back in May, I think. So we have some extensive knowledge of that. Here's the thing. The prompt engineering course that we teach is focused on large language models. It doesn't matter which large language model you use, but that's basically it. The other thing I wanted to mention is just, sorry, it's going to be a bit of a private thing, but I saw that my fiance was watching the stream. I'm getting married in a month, and when I said that till death do us part, I was talking in the name of the company. I just had to make that distinction.
Yeah. Well, if you die, I'll keep running the company, and if I die, you keep running the company.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen for the next
no,
200 years.
If I die, you're going to keep running the company with my AI. You and my AI.
Okay.
And if you die, I'm going to keep running the company with your AI and myself. Deal.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So in the meantime, let me just do this quickly. All right, so let me just also welcome a couple of our new students here at ProMaster. Eduardo, welcome. Juicy, is it Juicy or is it Husi? I wasn't sure. Then also Ira, welcome. Bart Jen, is it Bart Jen or Bart Jan? This is one of the biggest like sources of anxiety for me most of the time when I'm reading people's names and I cannot recognize the actual language. I'm like, am I pronouncing this right or what? So anyway, guys, Albert, welcome. That was an easy one. Welcome to our community. I'm so excited to have you all guys here. And also, the interesting thing is like one thing that we're going to launch, and I'm so excited to launch this next Monday, is that we're going to code live in live streams every Monday, because a lot of our students are like, hey, can I do this or that with ChatGPT? And they have no tech skills. And one of the things I shared with people is I used ChatGPT Vision to rebuild the Mac calculator. And I did it within 15 minutes without looking at the code. I was literally just copy pasting the code and debugging that way. And that is basically what we're gonna teach. So I have a backlog of things that people ask me to build. So I'm just gonna hit on live stream for our students and just keep building it. And if it takes 2 sessions, it takes 2 sessions. If it takes 5 sessions, it takes 5 sessions. And I'm just gonna keep building stuff. And I also have a couple interesting projects in the drawer that would be like, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So is it Ira or Ira?
I mean, this name pronouncing thing is also how I became David Talas, right? Because everybody in English, they say Talas. The real way that I pronounce it is Talos, because it's Hungarian, and even the S sound is different. So, but I just roll with it, It's like
that's how I became David Taylor.
Yeah.
But I'm actually gonna soon change my name as well. So.
Ooh,
you guys gonna have to get used to it.
Okay.
Gary has a really good point, asking whether or not prompt engineering will no longer be needed in 6 months, according to people working on GPT-5. That's interesting, and I think it taps back into the fact that prompt engineering is just more formal, more structured, more thought through communication. Because if I use the same principles I teach our students with people, I still get better results with people, right? That's what we discussed. So I think it's not just about it's prompt engineering is just communication skills. We're literally a communication skills school. Right? That's what we teach. And also we teach like structured thinking. We teach communication and logic. That's all that we teach. It makes you a human that becomes more capable. And I don't think that it will completely go away. I think it will gradually become easier. But then again, think about programming languages. 50 years ago, you had assembly. And now you have Python. And assembly was like a low-level language. Python is a high-level language. It's a lot easier to code in Python than it was in assembly. You don't actually have to code the transistors now anymore. However, you still need to learn how to code in Python. It's just so much easier to do that. But also, you just become a lot more capable writing code in Python, because you need to spend less time achieving the same thing. The only thing that happens is that English just became a programming language.
There is just something that I can't wrap my head around with this. Prompt engineering is not going to be needed, because prompt engineering is basically about transferring what you want to the large language model. Yeah. And the model, without Neuralink, it's not going to become a mind reader, right? So if I want a marketing email that is a follow-up to this workshop, and there were this, and this things that we said about the workshop, and these are the chats that you need to share. There is no way that it can read it out of my mind. Like I need to type it down and give it to the model. There's no way around that. There's no way around describing what kind of products you have, what kind of projects you want to manage. You need to give it the information, and prompt engineering is the skill of how you can basically give a large language model information so that now it can generate the output for you.
I get it now. Prompt engineering is not about ChatGPT. Prompt engineering is about you. Prompt engineering is your ability to convey what you want. It's not your ability to make the thing, like it's not the ability on how to use the model. The model can be incredibly intelligent, right?
Yeah.
If you cannot instruct it because you cannot actually say what you want, then it's just prompting will not make you more intelligent. It will just make you think faster.
Yeah.
If you're stupid, you're gonna be stupid faster.
There's no way we don't tell that joke, huh?
Yeah, I love saying that joke. It's just so
okay.
funny.
Do we have time for a little personal question? Because someone asked without a YouTube username, it's like, are one of you left-handed and one right-handed, or do you just have different watch hand preferences? So I am left-handed.
And I am left-handed too.
So now we are both left-handed, but we have different watch hand preferences. The reason I wear a watch on my right hand is because I used to play handball. And many times I would just, sometimes just, practice throwing. And if a watch is on your left hand and you just throw with it, you can just, get rid of your watch pretty quickly. So this is when I got into wearing it on my right hand, and now it's just like habit. I know the convention is to wear it on your left hand, but IDGAF.
No, actually, the reason why I'm wearing it on my left hand is that I'm actually somewhat two-handed, right? Because as a left-handed, I think you probably also experienced it a lot of times. One of the most annoying things as a left-handed person is using scissors.
Yeah, and
there are actually
sharpening a pencil.
Yeah, there are actually people who die because they used a right-handed scissor and they are left-handed. There are actually there's a statistic on it. I don't know how many people, but there are a number of people who actually ambidextrous. That's the word. Thank you, Evie. Anyway, so as a left-handed person, I needed to learn how to use the scissors. I also needed to. I used to play the guitar for a while, and I was using a right-handed guitar, so I needed to kind of get a bit more dexterity on my right hand. And then also because I'm a nerd, I'm using the computer a lot of times. So, and I was always using the mouse with my right hand, and I was drawing a lot. I was using Photoshop a lot, and I was doing like very sort of nuanced stuff with the mouse. I was playing Diablo with the mouse, and that requires a lot of precise hack and slash movements, right? So I just kind of developed some dexterity in my right hand. But again, as a kid, I used to be very addicted to video games. So I would spend like 16 to 18 hours a day when I had a free day in front of a computer, and it was just so bloody annoying wearing a watch on my right hand while I was trying to kill demons in the other.
I'm sure you noticed that most of the time I just take down my watch when I sit down to work.
Yeah, you do.
It just bothers me, but I will try. Now I put it on my left hand, it feels so heavy. Right, it's amazing.
Okay, let's see what ChatGPT ever learn other programming languages. Advanced data analysis can only run code in Python because it is a Python sandbox environment, but ChatGPT can write code in almost any programming languages. One of my favorite programming languages that has absolutely zero sense is called Brainfuck. There is literally a programming language named Brainfuck. This was the language was literally created to be a brainfuck. Like, it's literally unreadable. It's so difficult to write in it. It's an exotic programming language, and ChatGPT can write brainfuck code too, but it cannot read it. It cannot execute it with other However, one thing that we are going to teach probably in an upcoming session, this is something we just discussed with Dave for our Pro Master students on a live workshop sometime probably during this year, is how to set up a make.com automation that can run your own sandbox environment, and that would be able to run any kind of code.
Read RJ Johnson's comment. Read it out loud.
This one?
The last one.
I
Yeah.
crushed my class presentation last week. 3-hour lesson plan in a doctoral course, created avatars of classic philosophers by uploading their writings to Keymate and made them good at teaching.
I love it.
I love it.
That's when you use like 110% of your brain, right? Oh, it's amazing.
Okay.
Let's wrap this up, David.
Let's wrap this up. Yeah, let's wrap this up. Guys, thank you so much for your time. If you are still contemplating and looking for a sign, this is it. Go to the bundle. I'm really bad at this. Go to this and hit.
I almost pointed. Go click the QR code here.
We are now also becoming stupid faster. Good. Anyway, so just take a snap of the QR code and join us in the Prom Master community. See you there, and let's think faster together.
See you there, guys. Bye-bye.
See you in